I've seen a handful of videos about how Conquest vs Nappa isn't even close, and also a few videos about how Conquest vs Nappa is closer than you think. Almost every single person I've seen make a video on this seems to be in agreement that Nappa would win. But then I came up with a pretty good video idea about how many conquests it would take to take down Nappa. Will it only take 2 or 3, or are hundreds of conquests required to take down Nappa? Let's find out. Okay, first of all, the two most annoying things about this discussion are Dragon Ball Highballers and Death Battle. Let's go over Death Battle first. They did a video on Omni-Man vs Bardock, and in my opinion, it was a pretty bad video. You see, most people who scale Dragon Ball and Invincible, including myself, will tell you that the average Viltrumite can move much faster than the average Saiyan. However, Saiyans take the win in just about every other category, but Death Battle pretty much said the opposite. First of all, let's go over the Coalition blowing up the Sun Disk feat. The argument basically goes like this. The Coalition of Planets admitted that none of their weapons could hurt Viltrumites, yet they had a weapon powerful enough to blow up a giant disk that was blocking the sun's light from reaching this one planet. Now, the gravity of the planet was several times that of Earth, so it can be assumed that the planet is more than likely bigger than Earth. According to Death Battle's calculations, this disk would be half the size of the star. This is where I got a little confused, because the moon can block a lot of the sun's light, and the Earth's diameter is about 81 times that of the moon. The moon is also, you know, spherical, while the disk is, flat. We also don't know how big the star is. It could be bigger than our sun or smaller, we just don't know. Also, when characters blow up moons or planets in Dragon Ball, they completely vaporize them, while the Coalition just shattered the disk. However, it should be noted that this is still pretty impressive, and this is not even the max level of a Viltrumite's durability. It was stated that none of the Coalition of Planets weapons could hurt a Viltrumite, so this level of destructive force shouldn't even be able to hurt the average Viltrumite. The other most famous AP feat is when Mark Grayson, Omni-Man, and Optimus Prime the Viltrumite smash through the planet Viltrum. Now, there's surprisingly multiple ways you can scale this feat. On the low end, it's outright stated in one of the guidebooks that the planet is only 25% bigger than Earth. However, that's actually incorrect. The guidebook states it has 1.25 times the gravity of Earth. For example, Jupiter's diameter is over 1,300 times greater than Earth's, but its gravity is only 2.5 times that of our own planet. If you understand the formula for calculating the gravity binding energy of a planet, then you would know that a planet with 25% more gravity wouldn't automatically equal 25% harder to destroy. Death Battle's calculations of putting it at roughly 14 times the size of Earth actually does make perfect sense. You can totally have a planet that is 14 times bigger than Earth, but only with 25% more gravity. Believe it or not, it's entirely possible for a planet to be so densely packed that it has 10 times the gravity of Earth, yet it's a lot smaller. Yes, King Kai's planet can totally exist. Granted, at that density, it would probably be a star, not a planet. Believe it or not, the sun only has 28 times the gravity of Earth. However, star busting is still much greater than 28 times that of planet busting.
But Jar, I've heard that some people said that this is a star level feat. Where does that come from?
Well, you know how Space Racer helped destabilize the core of planet Viltrum? Yeah, that gun can blow up stars. So you can totally scale what Omni-Man did to moon level, planet level, or even close to star level. The last AP feat to go over is Nolan's statement about redirecting a meteorite the size of Texas. Now granted, this statement is said in the show and not the original comic. Plus, this is a statement we didn't actually see him do it. However, Omni-Man has no reason to lie. Plus, I think more people care about the show canon than the comic canon at this point. Texas is about 801 miles long and 773 miles wide. If the asteroid had roughly a spherical shape, it would be 1 quintillion cubic meters big. Give or take a few billion, of course. That would be about 1/20th of the moon's volume. Keep in mind the average asteroid moves at roughly 52 times the speed of sound. That would give it a kinetic energy of over 870 exotons of TNT, easily making this feat small planet level. Now I know what you're thinking, but Char, this video is about Conquest, not Omni-Man. Well, the thing is, Conquest is just above Omni-Man in terms of power. Bro seems completely confident that he can kill Omni-Man, and that look on Omni-Man's face is pure dread. Yes, Conquest did lose to a combination of Oliver, Invincible, and Adam Eve, but he wasn't taking the fight seriously at first, which put him at a great disadvantage. If he was serious from the start, he would have totally won. Now let's go over Nappa's destructive capabilities. Nappa, with just a wave of his hand, easily destroyed a city. He's way stronger than Piccolo around this time, and Piccolo, back when he was weaker with weighted clothing on, completely vaporized the moon. Some people have calculated this feat to being large planet level. Now, depending on what source you use, Nappa has a power level of 4,000 all the way to 7,500. Piccolo, when he fought Raditz with his weighted clothing on, had a power level of 322. Assuming he had a power level of 400 when he blew up the moon, and if we take the lowest power level of Nappa at 4,000, that would mean Nappa would have 10 times the destructive force. On top of that, there's a filler episode where King Vegeta blows up 3 planets with a wave of his hand. And yes, this does appear to include the planet that King Vegeta is on. Know who else is on that planet? Nappa. I've seen some people calculate this feat to being dwarf star level, and I personally disagree. Plus, this is also filler, so it doesn't really count. I don't really count the destruction of planet Viltrum to be star level, so I'm not going to count this to be dwarf star level. That's a bit too much highballing for my taste. So even if you want to calculate the destructive force of planet Viltrum to large planet level, and also say that Conquest is about 50% more powerful than Omni-Man, then Nappa would still have dozens of times the destructive force. As for speed, Viltrumites easily take the win. Alan the alien, back when he was weaker than the average Viltrumite, flew from outside of the solar system to Earth in under 12 minutes. That would make him over 60,000 times faster than light. As for Omni-Man, he flew from Earth to Thraxa in under 1 week, and Thraxa is a couple galaxies away, so even if we really lowball this feat, he would be going at over 142 million times the speed of light. Assuming that Conquest is even faster, he should be able to go at roughly 200 million times the speed of light. Now granted, Viltrumites can only go this fast when they're in a vacuum. It's a lot easier to go super fast when you don't have an atmosphere holding you back. And before the Dragon Ball fans bring up their favorite talking point of travel speed doesn't equal combat speed, Viltrumites constantly fight at the speed they're flying at, and Omni-Man grabbed Red Rush, a guy who was even faster than him.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
But wait, I hear you say.
What about that one really good speed feat where Goku was traveling to Namek? He went from Earth to Namek in 6 days, and Namek is in a different quadrant of the universe. Goku, after training at just 20 times Earth's normal gravity, was dodging asteroids. According to the Dragon Ball Universe map, Namek is about a half a universe distance away from Earth. That would make him over 9.5 trillion times the speed of light.
Okay, first of all, there's a lot of things going against this feat. Number one, this is a filler episode, so it doesn't really count. Assuming that Goku is about twice as powerful as Nappa around this time, due to the Zenkai boost and training at 20 times Earth's normal gravity, that would mean Nappa's speed would be half that of Goku's. The map of the Dragon Ball universe is not to scale. If it was, then King Kai's planet would be bigger than galaxies. But the biggest thing by far going against this speed feat is that Goku's ship should be as fast as a Saiyan space pod, if not slower. It took Vegeta and Nappa 1 year to reach Earth from wherever they were in the universe. So if it takes Goku's ship only 6 days to travel halfway across the universe, then where were the Saiyans coming from? A completely different dimension? Don't get me wrong, the speed feat is still impressive. It took Kami's ship 58 seconds to go from Earth to Jupiter. Goku's ship is 5 times faster than Kami's ship. At the absolute lowest you can scale this feat is 215 times the speed of light. So this should make Nappa over 100 times faster than the speed of light. Still way slower than Conquest. As for fighting skill, I know a lot of people hate it when I say this, but Conquest is way better. The average Viltrumite has thousands of years of combat experience, and Conquest is a very old Viltrumite. Not every Saiyan has the fighting skill of Goku or Vegeta. From what has been shown of Nappa, he doesn't really have a lot of fighting skill. Bro nearly got taken out by Krillin.
Nappa, no! It's a trick! But Vegeta! Tricks are for kids.
As for equipment, yes, I know I say that word weird, Nappa actually surprisingly takes the W in this regard. What does Conquest have? Oh, Metal Gauntlet. Nappa has a Scouter, which can tell him how powerful his opponent is. Plus, his Saiyan armor is quite durable. As for endurance, Conquest easily takes the W. Fights in Dragon Ball canonically last only a few minutes, but Viltrumites can fight for weeks on end. As for hacks, Nappa, probably for the first time ever, actually takes the W. He can fire Ki Blast, which gives him a great range advantage. He gets a Zenkai boost when he's beaten to near death and survives. And of course, he has his Ozaru form, which multiplies his power by 10. Conquest, on the other hand, can hold his breath for a long period of time. And while he can regenerate, believe it or not, it's actually worse than the average Viltrumite. You see, Conquest is a survivor of the Scourge virus. The virus greatly reduced the potential of his healing factor. He's missing an eye, and he really looks like he could use a hand. Lastly, there's intelligence. I don't think I need to explain that Conquest is way smarter than Nappa. Again, bro tried to catch a Destructo Disc with his face. Conquest, on the other hand, has lived for thousands of years. In that amount of time, he's probably picked up a lot of knowledge. Conquest's greatest advantage is, of course, his speed. Unfortunately, he can't really do too many things to actually hurt Nappa. If Nappa even lays one hand on him, he's gonna get torn apart. So how many Conquests would be needed to take down Nappa? Well, believe it or not, if Conquest is smart about this, which he should be because he's really intelligent, it would only require 3 or 4 of him. Allow me to explain. Conquest's speed, regeneration, and stamina are far greater than Nappa's. You see, 1 or 2 Conquests could attack Nappa, and if one of them is severely injured, he could run away to heal up. And then another Conquest could take his place and keep fighting against Nappa. Sure, Nappa has easily dozens of times the destructive force as Conquest, but in order to pull that off, he needs to hit him with a ki blast, and Conquest is just too fast. If the 3 or 4 Conquests kept on tagging one another out to keep fighting against Nappa, eventually he would get very, very tired, until he wouldn't be able to fight any longer. Sure, Nappa could transform into his Zaru form, which should make him immune to Conquest attacks, but Conquest would just have to leave and wait for Nappa's transformation time to run out. More than likely, Nappa would not die from being ripped apart or from blood loss. Rather, he would die from exhaustion. Every time he would try to take a nap, Conquest would just hit him again, waking him up. Forget the Russian sleep experiment, this is the Viltrumite sleep experiment. However, if Conquest was stupid about this and attacked Nappa head-on without using any form of strategy or teamwork, yeah, Nappa could easily take on hundreds of Conquests all at once, especially with his Ozaru form. But even then, eventually he would get too tired and collapse from exhaustion. Then he would slowly die from lack of sleep. Of course, power scaling is subjective, so scale these characters however you want. I'm mostly making this as a follow-up to my video about an all-out war between the Saiyans and the Viltrumites. Yeah, a lot of Dragon Ball fans seem to have a problem with me saying that 10,000 Saiyans would probably lose to 10 quadrillion Viltrumites. That's literally 1,000,000,000 to 1. A human may be above an ant, but I don't think you have the confidence to take on 1,000,000,000,000 ants all at once. Especially when those ants are all faster than you. Just so you all know, I'm still working on my all versions of Goku versus all versions of Superman remake. I really want to get this channel more in the algorithm before I release it because that is my magnum opus. I want to increase the budget of these videos and get them out faster, so if you can donate to me on Patreon, that would be a big help. Or you could give a one-time donation to help save my friend's family restaurant. A link to her GoFundMe will be down below. Anyways, let's get to the credits.